deal to me, Mr. Callan.
There's the matter of my chief witness. If I don't prosecute you, he'll go to the state district attorney, perhaps to the federal government.
And that is part of what you will give me in exchange for the wealth you're going to receive.
There we go.
Who is your chief witness?
I can guarantee you he'll not testify.
I would rather give myself my own guarantee on that matter.
It mean his death, wouldn't it?
Mr. Callan, all of us, any of us, even the most noble of persons, must look the other way sometimes.
It's easy for you to say that. It's easy for you to do.
To look the other way becomes the easiest thing in the world after a while. All you have to know is why you're doing it and what you have to gain.
How does one look the other way? How does one achieve the facility for turning around at precisely the right moment?
A trip to Europe.
My wife has always wanted to go to Europe. She likes things like that.
His name?
Trip to Europe is something that is dreamed of. Spoken of it often.
His name?
Bartell.
Ah, yes. Oh, yes. My good, trusted friend, Bartell. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Callan.
Who was Bartell? A man from the streets who had muscled his way into life.
Yep.
Who was Bartell? Circumstance had made him a witness to McNeely's worst plans. Destiny had placed him in a position of value to the district attorney's office. This valueless man, Bartell, happenstance and coincidence had made him the keeper of dark secrets and illegal events which could have smashed an empire. An empire I was now partner to merely because I told them a name and looked the other way.
You know what? Make sure that the volume...
The first night out, I waited on deck after dinner, waited for Betty to come out, and we would go to the main
volume
saloon.
is just fine.
It felt good to know your way in the world, to know
How about
when
my
to look the other way.
volume? Is it just fine?
Sometimes you only have to do it once if you plan right.
Just a little bit.
And Betty could have everything. A bigger house, another servant in the house. Up, moving up. So
that'll be
secure. I didn't even hear his footsteps approaching. So positive all was going well, I didn't even think of caution. So certain of success, everything for Betty. I was so pleased.
You're the only man I ever trusted.
I hate you so much sometimes.
The only man, and a DA.
It's incredible
besides.
how much I hate
And you can
layering
still trust me.
so much.
Even after you
It
said my
annoys me
name?
to no
I'm getting
end.
rid of McNeely for you.
Just
Are you?
You turned state's
I
evidence.
like that.
If you didn't believe I could get rid of McNeely, you wouldn't have dared turn state's evidence.
I believed you. I trusted you.
Let's stop the game.
Why did I ever think I could trust you?
No.
Now tell me, you're a smart man. You went to college.
Yeah,
Because it was to your advantage. Because if the law
Yes.
could get rid of McNeely for you, that was better.
And
I
safe.
still
Don't have any
want
illusions
to
about trusting me.
select
You
it.
never did. You
You
needed me.
fuck.
That's different.
And you needed me. We
Still
needed each
want
other.
to
We still
select
do.
it.
Nothing's different.
And
You
you're under
dickmonger.
bond, Bartell.
Oh, God.
You're leaving the country without permission.
McNeely gave me
Still.
permission. He had me
Fuck.
shot at, and I
There we
was
go.
wounded. See my
There we
shoulder?
go.
Fat on this side, fat from
Select.
bandages.
You don't have a passport.
I didn't
Now
need that
go to
either.
the
I
red.
have money.
How'd you get aboard?
Oh, it's simple. Easy to stay hidden for a day. The second and third day, that's something else.
I can fix it so you won't be let off, so you'll be sent right back.
Mr. Callan, I can put you in prison if I'm sent back.
My word would prevail against yours in any court of law.
Maybe against my word alone. But not McNeely's hired gun, so both our words against yours.
You have him?
Some of my men do, yeah. He's safe at home.
Oh, I could discredit your testimony.
Ah, then why argue?
I have nothing to do with you.
You got no choice, Mr.
I'm
Callan.
warning you, Bartell.
Well, what do you do? Kill me? You're not the kind who thinks like that. You kill by law, the legal way.
And I'll find a way by law.
Once I'm in Europe, they have different laws.
All right. I'm a realist, Bartell.
So?
I only take calculated risks. What's your price?
I have more money than you do, Callan. You couldn't buy me.
Then what do you want?
But you have more prestige than I do. You're liked. You know your way around the talkers. Well, talk me off this ship.
You're impossible.
Find a way.
You'll be discovered before we dock.
Not if you put me up in your cabin.
Bartell, wherever I'm involved, I'll listen and meet a man halfway. But me alone, not my wife. If you involve my wife, I won't do a thing for you. Not if my wife's involved in any way, not a thing.
I'm in a squeeze, Callan. I'm finished unless you help me get into Europe. But you'll be finished with me.
I'm almost done with these
I got
panels,
enough
so
power for that.
I'll find a
might
way.
as well
All
just
right, I'll
get
go
them
with you.
done.
No. Meet me here in 1 hour.
Get these SOBs done. Just take care of them.
I walked away calm. I made a point of walking away confident, but my stomach felt sick. Maybe I'd thought of trying to kill him then and didn't know it. I'd been raised to respect human life. I'd been educated to be decent, to forgive. But Bartell wasn't human. He was a beast. And is there anything in the ethic which says we cannot protect our lives when attacked? Bartell was destroying me, pulling me carefully built world down about me. A world Betty must know nothing about. A world I had built to protect Betty. From law school to ward politics to assistant district attorney. The long way up, the hardest minds to fight, the most realistic men to please. Only the toughest stay with it. Only the toughest and shrewdest get to my position, because my position leads to the highest offices if you're smart, if you look the other way. Maybe I knew I wanted to kill him then. The sea was calm, the ship wasn't pitching, yet my stomach was sick.
Yeah.
Half an hour was gone and still no plan. Where to go, who to turn to, what to ask, nothing, anywhere. My mind posed questions for which there were no answers. Would I lose all I owned in the world? Problems for which there were no solutions. If I lost everything, would Betty go too? Were the two things inseparable? My success and Betty?
I'll be ready in a minute. Robert, is that you? Who is it? Oh, Robert, you didn't answer.
There. Drink helps.
Helps what?
You go to the dining saloon yourself. I'll be along soon.
Do you mind if I ask what's wrong?
I can handle it.
Of course. I'll be in the dining saloon.
Wait a minute. Come back.
All right. What is it?
You were going to leave, weren't you?
I don't understand.
You'd have left me. You saw I was troubled, very troubled, and I wanted to talk to you, but you made me ask you.
Oh, please, don't get angry, Robert. Please don't
You
argue.
always make me ask you for your attention, always, ever since we've been married.
Not always, Robert. Not ever since we were married.
Most of the time. You changed. You got quiet. You never wanted to talk about things I was doing.
You never accepted my suggestions.
You didn't understand the legal profession, the workings of law.
That's why I stopped giving
It
suggestions.
wasn't suggestions I wanted. It was encouragement to have you believe in me. But you never did. The more I gave you, the more I tried to give you, the less you seemed to care.
Oh, please,
You think
stop.
all these things come out of the sky? Do you think they were given to me? I had to fight for them. To fight to get things for you.
I never asked for them.
Oh, but you took them. You never refused them. You never said, no, I don't want a lot of clothes. No, I don't want a fur coat. You never said no.
Stop shouting. Stop. Shout.
Everything. For you. But you give nothing in return. No love or affection or like, not even liking.
Oh, stop.
Why didn't you ask for a divorce? I'll give you a divorce. Easy. Simple. Is that what you want?
Oh, I can't stand anymore.
Here.
Oh,
You're not going to leave now.
my arm.
You know why you want to divorce me? You know why you won't? Because of these comforts. That's all you want. You'd lose them. You'd lose them overnight.
Why do you do this to me?
I've paid for everything in my life, for everything. Everything you have. Only now it's time for you to pay, too. To kill a man is the easiest thing in the world to do. To kill a man who would take your wife from you. I know the logic. I know it's wrong. Bartell wasn't taking my wife from me, but he was taking position and wealth, and those things kept my wife to me, I thought. I knew. Bartell had to be destroyed, and she would have to be partner to it. That way, she'd never leave. That way, I'd achieve everything. That's why I told her the story as if I'd memorized it, as if it was the only thing I'd ever thought about, as if Bartell's death was the last obstacle in our life.
No, Robert. Please, don't, Robert.
You'll distract him up there on the deck, at the dark place on the deck.
Don't ask me. Don't make me part of this.
Together, we plan it. Together, we need him. Together. Come on, Betty, the hour is up. Bartell's hour is up.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Joseph Cotton in A Watery Grave, tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Wow, I feel great now.
Ah, thanks to your Autolite spark plug dealer and his exclusive plug check indicator, Oscar.
And those new ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. They're right at home in my ignition system.
That's because Autolite spark plugs are designed by the same Autolite engineers who design the coil, distributor, and all the other important parts of complete ignition systems used as original equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars, trucks, and tractors.
What type Autolite spark plugs did I get, Mr. Wilcox?
The new Autolite resistor type, Oscar. They give double life, greater gas savings, and quicker starts, as compared to spark plugs without a built-in resistor. And the Autolite resistor spark plug is only one of a complete line of ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs designed for every use. So, friends, take a tip from me and see your Autolite spark plug dealer. Have him check your spark plugs. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Joseph Cotton in Elliot Lewis's production of A Watery Grave, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
How did I start to die? Then, at that moment, as we walked along the deck, did I start to die then because I knew I would kill Bartell? Does one die a little if one plans to kill a human being and die more when one does it? And to compound it, Your Honor, funny to think, Your Honor.
Hope everybody's
funny
doing
to
good.
think that way now. To compound it by knowing your wife hates you more than anything in the world because she's terrified, infuriated by her hate, but pleased with her terror. How can she hate me so? In so short a time, I gave her everything. I tried to be something important for her, and rich for her, and kill for her. As we walked along the deck, I had no real idea how I would kill Bartell, no exact idea, but it had to be done. I held Betty's arm tightly as we approached the dark part of the deck near the railing, the place where Bartell was. Not actually a railing, an entrance for a ramp with only a chain across it. Bartell, this is my wife.
What did you decide?
I've been talking to her. I've been explaining to her.
What did you decide?
Don't talk to me like that, Bartell. Don't ever talk to me like that.
You put me in your stateroom
Yes, of course.
and guarantee to get me off
And I
Oh,
couldn't guarantee. Guarantees and things like this are impossible. There are officials to get at you.
How are you
It's all
today?
running
Hope
right people.
your
You're
Labor
good at
Day went
putting in a
well.
fix,
Hope
Mr.
everything
Callan.
else
You've been
went
putting in
good.
fixes all the way from the
Hope you had a
slums up to
chill
the
day, and I
penthouse.
hope it was
Ship shouldn't stop you.
Don't say
nothing
things
more
like
than
that.
Why
just
not?
amazing.
Everybody knows how McNeely pays off, and you're one of McNeely's boys. Now, anytime he wants to put his fingers in a dirty deal, he'll use your hands to do it.
Don't talk like that in front of my wife.
She'll get used to it. McNeely doesn't care who knows about his dirty-handed men.
Shut up.
Shut up!
I lunged at him. He didn't even reach for his gun he was carrying. He didn't think I was capable of doing it. His back was
Oh,
against
right.
the chain, his good arm flailing wildly.
Hold up.
Over the chain, over and into
there
the
we go.
water. I didn't see him
Sorry.
in office. I didn't know until I
I
heard
forgot
the
it
scream.
as well. Cat forgot it, and I literally forgot it. I literally forgot that it exists.
It was insane. She was
No
pulled over the
problem.
side, too, over into the water.
I literally forgot
I had to
chat
save her. There was
emote
little I could
only.
do to save her would be to
Chat.
save Bartell, but I didn't hesitate. I know that, sure of it. I grabbed the
That's
nearest
okay.
life preserver and hurled it over the side. I could barely see them struggling in the water with the ship's propellers coming nearer. And then I knew I would have to jump. I would go over. I could still finish Bartell and save Betty. Still,
Thank you for coming
I
in,
could have
Ojima. I
everything,
do appreciate
and
it.
it would be called an accident. I went over the side.
Saying hey and just being here.
Lie flat. Don't try to
Look,
swim
I'm just glad that people came.
from the propellers.
And also on a holiday, too, you know.
Don't fight. Loose on the back part. Loose.
Thanks, my man. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Suddenly it was quiet. Suddenly the terror was gone. And I
Do
could see
appreciate
Betty
that, my
staying
man.
near the life preserver.
Do
And
appreciate
beyond
it.
that, Bartell struggling with one good
It's
arm,
all good.
struggling to
It's
get to the
all
life
love
preserver
over
first.
here.
I forgot about Betty. I
Just
forgot
clean
everything except that
this.
I had to get him before he
Finish
took the life
this up,
preserver.
and then I'll do the Instagram
never get
one.
it.
I think this.
Keep back.
It looks. No, I gotta clean up some things. So this is mostly just cleanup. I love the how the black layer really does like.
Tell your story.
It kind of does a lot of the work for me.
Tell it.
Like I don't have to do that much work. I'm just cleaning up the rest of the layers. This is just a plain cleanup over here. But I hope you've been doing good. I hope your art's been going well.
Tell it from the sea.
Plus, I was asleep today, and so I just woke up at 5 p.m., so I am wide awake. Well, that's cool. That's alright.
Take the preserver and hold on
We'll
to it.
just chill out, hang
Just to
out.
understand it was Bartell. All
No
right.
problems,
never knew
no
you.
Ship will turn around
problems.
and pick us up soon. You must
I
understand.
never
Just
really
chill
knew you.
out, hang out, you
It
know,
takes
get
something to
comfy.
kill a man.
Bartell was the killer.
I'll be here.
A ruthless man. I
I'll
know. I
be
was the
here
one who
till
forced him to
around,
take State's evidence.
I'd say
Horrible
around
you.
5 o'clock,
But that's
and
why
then
we've
I'm
been
gonna go
growing
to bed.
apart. Maybe I saw it but didn't recognize it. I'd never
So
seen it
I'm gonna
before.
be
You
on
did
for
every day in the
a
eyes
few
of the
hours.
That's
people.
a lie.
Look at the murders. Look at war.
I'm gonna,
Can't make
if
people
it's
kill each other
around
if they don't
6, I'm
want
not
to.
gonna be too hurt on it. I'm just gonna be like,
I'll
okay,
never forget
alright.
the look on his face when he knew he was
Whatever
going
I
to drown.
feel, if I can stay
you
up
who
till
drives me.
6, that's cool. If I can't, I will just go to bed and not harp on it, you know?
Crying.
Well,
Crying for him. Crying for a hoodlum, a killer. Crying for a gangster.
Yes. Cheers for him.
Oh, he doesn't deserve it. Why should he be cried over? Why him? You never wept for me.
I weep
But
for
yeah,
you,
no,
too.
I don't
Ojima.
need pity. I don't need your pity.
I'm not giving you
Yeah,
pity.
it's 5:39 over
Trying to
there,
find a way to
yeah.
forgive you.
I
Yeah.
miss you yesterday, I wanted to
Hold on
chat.
to the life preserver. You
Oh,
failed
yeah,
to let
man.
go.
Get away from me.
No, dude, I completely understand. Yeah.
You only want the life preserver.
All right, you want to believe it.
Just
It's
hanging
true.
out with your friends,
And
just chilling
I'll
out.
Get
It's
it.
always good, man. It's always good.
The water carried me faster. You'll never catch up to me.
I'll catch up. Oh, Betty. Don't be a fool. Come back. Oh, Betty. Oh, come back. The
But
ship will
yeah,
turn
no,
around.
work wasn't too bad yesterday.
Will save us.
From 2 till 8, and then went home,
I
ate
don't need
some
The life
ate some
preserver, I can
food,
hold up.
chilled out for a few hours, and then I was like, I could really conk out right now. Yeah, I'll stream.
Have the biggest suite on the ship.
No
They'll
problem
miss
with
us and
just
turn around in a
streaming.
few minutes.
I know everybody's probably
think you're
either
so
asleep or doing
What
their
makes
own
you think
thing. I
you'd be missed?
I
just wanted to get stuff done.
am important.
What makes you want to be so big? So much?
Oh. It was
I mean, I don't mind if people
You-
stay or not. I'm
what
cool
I
with just
struggled
hanging out.
so hard to get.
I get if they gotta go.
For you.
I'm not gonna be.
Yourself.
I'm not gonna be
Getting
hurt.
rich to please yourself, but
Just
you never
gonna be
enjoyed
like,
it either.
oh, okay.
You would have left me if I'd stopped. Stopped making so much.
I only wanted love. Only wanted a family, your love, your children. Only yours.
You mean that. You do mean that.
Too
Hope
late.
my mic's good. If my mic's good, just let me know. If my mic's bad, let me know.
In time, we can forget.
How?
Yeah, no, this
How can
this
I forget? How
red
can you?
is kicking
Oh,
major
you're right.
ass right now. Like, that is such a
Was
good
for
like
me, and it wasn't for the
blast.
Money.
I don't even. I was
the
gonna
wealth,
make
it
that
was the
white,
power.
and now I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, no.
Not even
There's
that.
no need to make it white.
Oh,
There's no need. I mean, I could make it white.
my darling Betty.
Give it a little bit of a.
My wonderful Betty.
There's really no point. There's no need for it.
Hold on, Rob,
My kid.
and I'll come to you.
It's also got a
The lights
spooky
are just
feeling
before
and stuff
both.
like that.
When did I start to die, Betty?
Perfect for Halloween.
I'm dying now. When did I start to die?
Don't talk. Hold up, Robert. Hold up.
When I knew I was
They also got
killed
another
myself.
contest for
It was sooner.
a D&D
said I
thing.
Look the
Oh,
other
hey,
way. Yes.
oh my God, Shy Red Fox. Oh, thank you so much, Shy.
The other
You
way.
incredible person.
Yes, Mr. McNeil.
You amazing person.
Only I started to die long before, years before. Maybe I've been killing myself all my life. Slowly.
Shy.
The subtle way.
Darling, please hold on a minute longer. Only a minute.
I can't.
Yeah. Hey, how was your stream? How did it go? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you have some good times? Hopefully it didn't crash again. How's everybody doing? Sit and have a good sit down, you know, just enjoy yourself. You know, I'm a very calm stream, you know. We're just listening to old-timey radio, so it's all good. Yes. I was there for both times, and that was no fun. I don't know what it was. It's probably an item that you have downloaded in your pack, and it's just not registering correctly. That is a issue I've seen before.
World's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry.
But yes,
And during these early months of '52, the Autolite family joined
So
in
yeah,
saluting the leading
just working on
manufacturers
this
who
right
install
now.
Autolite
I
products
think it
as
looks
original
really
equipment.
good so
Our
far,
Autolite
and
family is
all
made
it
up
needs
of
is
the nearly
finishing touches.
30,000 men and
In
women
all
in
honesty, it
28
came
great
together
Autolite
real
plants from
quick.
coast to coast, and in still other Autolite plants in many foreign countries. It also includes
A
more
lot
than
of the others
18,000
were
people
like
who have
real
invested a
long.
portion
I
of
was
their
like,
savings
oh
in
man,
Autolite, as well
just
as
doesn't look right.
96,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States.
Or you could
and
ask
thousands more in Canada and
whoever
throughout
you
the
play with
Our Autolite family will
if
salute
they
the leading
know,
truck
or you could.
manufacturers who use Autolite
There's
products
probably a
on the
Reddit
next Autolite Suspense
for all the
television
mods
program.
you have.
If you live in a television area, check the day and time of Suspense on
Yes.
television so that you'll be sure to see this program.
Yes.
And remember, be
Nah,
with us
dude,
next week
you're
for another
radical
thrilling
as
Autolite
shit,
Suspense
man.
program on radio.
Dude, I'm glad you had an amazing raid. If you want to chill out, I understand. If you need to get going and get to bed,
Next week,
I
our star
understand
will be
that
Mr.
too,
Frank
dude.
Lovejoy in the recreation of an historical puzzle, a radio dramatization of The Wreck
You
of the
know,
Old
just
97.
It's
A
whatever
story
you want to
based on
do.
fact
No
And
pressure.
presented on Suspense.
That's really
Suspense
my
is produced and
channel as a
directed
whole.
by Elliot Lewis.
It's just no
With
pressure.
music composed by Lucian
It's
Morowitz
all
and conducted
good,
by
you
Lud
know.
Gluskin.
We're all good in the
A
hood.
Watery Grave was written for Suspense by Arthur Ross. In tonight's story, Mary Jane Croft was heard as Betty, Stan Waxman as
Oh,
McNeely,
of course.
and Joseph Kearns as Bartell.
Dude, you're my friend.
Joseph
That's
Cotton
what
may
friends
soon be
do.
seen
I
in
support
The
all my
Untamed, a
friends.
Universal International picture co-starring Shelley
Every
Winters.
single one of my friends are important to
And
me,
remember next
and
week
I
on
support them no
Suspense,
matter what. And
Mr.
if you
Frank
ever need to
Lovejoy
talk
in
about stuff, you
The
know,
Wreck of the
I'm
Old
always
97.
available. If you need to just chit and chat,
Last
just
July, the nation's
let
first
me
flood
know.
in a decade
I'm
smashed
always
through Kansas and
available for
Missouri.
everybody.
The Red
I try
Cross
to
was on the job
be as
to relieve the
positive as
suffering and
possible.
shelter the homeless.
You know, if
This was
people
only
just
one
need to
of
talk,
300
I'm
domestic
there.
disasters in which the Red Cross gave aid
If you
last
ever
year.
got
To
any
carry on its
problems
vital
or
work,
anything like
the Red
that, just
Cross
talk
needs
about it.
your financial aid now.
I'm
generously.
there for a friend. Ojima knows this. Everybody knows
This is the
this.
CBS Radio Network.
I'm always down to hang out. I'm always down. You know, even when I'm working, I'll text you. Even when I'm working, I'll try to keep in contact to make sure you're okay.
Autolite and its 96,000 dealers bring you Mr. Frank Lovejoy in tonight's presentation of Suspense.
That's just who I am. Yeah, dog.
Tonight,
I don't know your schedule or anything like that, but, you know, you need to get some rest, I understand. It's 3:48 here, it's chill time over here. We're all about just sitting back, relaxing, and just enjoying each other's company.
Hello. Hi, Mr. McSorley. Hey, you'd better be starting for the St. Patrick's Day parade.
I can't get started, Harlow. My car battery's dry as an Irishman's wit.
Why, you ought to have an Autolite Stay Full battery.
A battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use?
Tis one and the same. The dependable battery that will start you swift and
All right.
sweet as a Colleen's smile.
Experiment
and
time.
the Autolite Stay Full gives longer
Just an
life, as
experiment.
proved by tests conducted according to
We'll see.
accepted life cycle standards.
Well, where do we get
It's
an
3 a.m.
Autolite
for me.
Stay Full?
It's
From
way
your Autolite
late.
battery
Hey,
dealer,
that's okay.
He services all makes of batteries.
3
And if
a.m.
a replacement is needed, he
Oh,
has
shit.
an Autolite Stay Full battery for your car.
Ah,
So friends,
my goodness.
just call Western Union.
It's
by
okay.
number-
We're just 2 hours. We're just an hour apart.
The
It's
battery that
all
needs water
Gucci.
only 3 times a year in normal car use.
We're
Remember,
trying an
from
experiment
bumper to
over
tail
here,
light, You're
guys.
always right
Let's see.
with Autolite.
Experimental time.
Now,
We'll see
with
where it goes.
the wreck of
If it
the old
doesn't look
97
good, we'll change
And
it.
the performance of Mr. Frank Lovejoy. Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
And I hope that you enjoy yourself, MoQuest? I don't know how to say that name. MoQuest?
Looming up at him on the track ahead. The snow was real heavy that night. Visibility less than 0. That's possible. Not snowing as hard as now, but nearly. No warning, Mike. Nothing. People sleeping, eating, drinking, just
Undo.
talking like we're doing, and bam.
Undo that.
Finished. Terrible wreck. Snowing this bad, huh?
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
but then,
in.
of course, they didn't have signal
Just-
systems like we have, or safety measures like we have. Did they, Joe?
No, I don't believe so. Of course, the worst wreck I ever heard of was told me by my dad when I was a kid. The fast mail was a
watching.
train. The
I
Southern
get you.
Railway. The line, you know, thing that's
I
well
get
known.
you.
You probably heard about it. The wreck of the old 97?
Casey Jones was the engineer on that, wasn't he?
No, Casey Jones had the cannonball. Joseph A. Brody
That's okay.
had the old 97.
That's all good.
Matter of fact, that was named for him.
That's okay.
Funny thing.
What?
No, it's nothing.
What?
We weren't related to the Joe Brody I'm talking about. We just happen to have the same name.
Hey, where are we?
Well, it's
I don't
almost
know.
6:30. We're coming into Monroe.
You know what?
15-minute stopover to
I'll
change
have
crews.
2,
Then Lynchburg
and
and
I can
Danville,
literally
Rise,
put it on my
Danville at
Discord and I'll
8:45.
ask. I'll see if people
97
like
never
it
made
better
What did you
or
start to
worse.
say before? Funny thing, what?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
The story
I'll
my
see if
dad
people
used to
like it
tell about the
better or
97.
worse. And
Carried
we'll
a
see.
crew of 3, was wrecked, as you know. They found 5 bodies in the wreckage.
What?
Yeah, found 2 more bodies in the wreck than
Now,
were supposed to be on the
normally
train.
with
that happen?
liquid and
Funny
glass,
story.
it's good to do
Yeah.
like
Well, tell us.
kind of like put this.
I told
So
you I was
I'm
named
gonna
for the
try.
engineer on the old 97, didn't I, Joe Brody? Well, this is where he picked up the train, right here in Monroe, Virginia. Although it used to go all the way to Spencer. Train started further
It's
north
gonna
from
make
Washington
it
Station.
Nebraska level.
The day I'm
There.
talking about was a Sunday, September 27th, 1903. And here's what happened.
On a cold, frosty morning in the month of September, when the clouds were hanging low, 97 pulled out from the Washington station like an arrow shot from a bow.
Morning, Joe.
Morning, Mr. Elkins.
Seems we got a little trouble up the line.
What's the matter?
She ain't running on time.
How late is she?
40 minutes at Rapidan.
Well, that's bad.
Joe, it's terrible. Old 97's never run a minute late since she went into service.
Don't you worry, Mr. Elkins. She won't be late on our division. I'll get into Danville on time. That's the kind of man he was, the Joe Brody I was named for. He was a proud man and the best engineer on the line. And he loved old 97. It was Joe who'd driven her down from the World's Fair at Chicago when she was on exhibit as the newest, most powerful engine in the world. And it was Joe who'd driven her over the Blue Ridge Mountains from Monroe to Danville ever since. The old 97 was Joe's baby. And in Danville that morning, his wife was expecting a real baby. A better than usual reason for getting to Danville that day. There was another man on that train who wanted real bad to get to Danville on time. Big Tom Cheater, the fireman.
Morning, Mr. Brody. Morning, Mr. Elkins.
Morning, Tom.
Morning, Tom.
I hear she's late.
40 minutes at Rapidan.
Well, today my mammy and papa's been married 50 years. Their golden anniversary. I figured to get in on time today.
We will, Tom.
Whole family's gonna meet me at the station. Big greeting for the youngest child. Fireman for Mr. Brody.
We'll get there in time if you keep that fire going this morning.
I will, Mr. Brody.
Oh, here, Joe. I'll get your orders ready.
Gave him his orders at Monroe, Virginia, saying, Joe, you're way behind time. This is not 38, but it's old 97. You must put her in Danville on time.
So there they were, the engineer and the fireman, each one with a special reason for wanting to get to Danville on time. And there was the third member of the crew, old Mr. Clovis, the clerk in the mail car. He had his reason, too.
Oh, morning, Mr. Clovis.
Morning, Mr. Elkins. Morning, Joe. Morning, Mr. Clovis.
How's she running?
Late. Late, huh?
Too bad. She had to be late, especially today, Mr. Clovis.
Oh, say, I'd forgotten you were retiring today, aren't you, sir?
Yes, this is my last run.
Well, I'll try to make up the time for you, Mr. Clovis. Can't end 30 years of railroading behind schedule.
I don't care so much myself, but
Yes, now that looks like there's actual liquid in there.
I believe
Shit, yeah.
Ceremony. I know dang well there is. They're going to give you the prettiest gold
Oh,
case watch in the Blue Ridge
yeah.
Mountains, all engraved.
That looks
I
so
saw it myself
good.
last week. Well, that's very
It's
nice.
the little
Quite
things that you
unnecessary.
don't
How does
expect.
it feel to retire,
It's
Mr.
pretty
Clovis?
good.
It feels fine, Joe. I'll step down to the platform, and from that moment I'll have nothing to do but die.
Well, you can live, can't you, Mr. Clovis?
Live for what? This is my life.
Oh, also, Fox, I didn't see. How far did you get on your? Yes. How far did you get on your what is it? Your PNG tuber, or was it a live 2D tuber? I don't know.
Why, Mr. Brody?
Well, if I was trying to make a break for it, I wouldn't take any chances being
I
tracked
was
by blood.
very sleepy at the time,
I'd head
and
for
I
the
was
railway,
just.
hop the first train that
I
came
had
through.
one eye open, and I was like, "What? Is this live 2D or something like this?" Very sleepy.
Now, a
How far did you get? I'm just excited. This is just me excited and stuff like that. If you're not ready to show, that's totally fine.
Or at least that's the way I was told the story.
I just get real excited for my friends. I mean, I get real excited. Ojima shows me all his stuff, so I'm like, oh yes,
What are we gonna do?
more,
When Monroe
more.
town with 5 churches, 15 saloons, and a jailhouse. What are we gonna do? You think a posse couldn't track us down if we took to the
PNG
hills?
Tuber is currently being shaded. Once it's shaded, I'll be animating it and working on Kaiju.
Danville, we got a man
Oh,
to put guns in our hands and tell us where to use them. Honey boy, when we get on that old 97, we don't have to worry about a thing.
Clint, do you suppose you hit that turnkey too hard?
I hit him hard enough to knock him out.
yeah, Ojima shows me his stuff already, and I'm like, there it is.
Killed a man
There it
yesterday.
is. It's so good.
We might as well kill another one today.
He's getting better every single day.
You did.
He's so good.
Listen, honey boy, makes no difference who pulled the trigger. Understand me? No difference.
Sure, Clint, sure.
That's good. That's good. What's their? Do they have a persona, or is it just a PNG tuber? That's a question for Kaijo. I don't think I've ever actually seen Kaijo's channel. Do they just play video games? Are they artists, or what was it?
Let's get out there and find out why Pete's so late.
All right, Joe.
I try to be in the loop for everybody. It's very difficult.
Joe, have a good trip.
Pretty, isn't she?
Beautiful.
Ah, Kaz. Ah, you incredible person. Thank you for just coming in and saying, hey, man. Thank you for being awesome. You know you're incredible. You know you're amazing. I love what you've been doing. Oh, it's all good, man. Hey, no, you're incredible. You're awesome. Don't ever think you aren't. You're really doing it. 200 already. I can't wait to be there when you got 500. It's fine. Yeah.
Look at Big Tom. He's in more of a hurry than I am, if that's possible.
Yes,
Oh, also?
Bill. And be presented with a gold watch.
What?
Here comes Pete.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Pete. Hi, Joe. Mr. Clovis?
Hello, Pete.
What's the delay? Wash out south of Rapids.
I will try.
Section gang made up completely
I will
of
try to be a
no
good,
scouts. Wouldn't like to
good
throw,
person.
section boss
And
was
8 Ball
afraid
will
the
try to
barracks
be a
wouldn't
good
hold
boy,
him.
but no.
Why, he'd had 6 hours
All right,
to repair
get
the
back
track
to your
before
stream.
we
Get
come
back to your
along.
stream.
Dang
I will
fool.
see you in a minute.
They come that way sometimes.
I'll see
Sorry
you
to
later,
hear
buddy.
What do you like this, Joe? Don't see how you can make up the time. I'll do my best, Pete, and still keep her on the rails. Joe! Hey, Joe! Yeah, Mr.
Ah, what's her persona then? Now I'm curious. Now I'm very curious. Is it in the Discord or is it in your Discord?
Hey, Mr. Hawkins.
I'm very
Tell Joe
curious.
Brody he'd better get
I would
97
love
into
to see.
Danville ahead of schedule if he wants to be here to meet the stork who is coming in on time. Dr. Glendenning is on his way out to Mrs. Brody now. Well, congratulations, Joe.
It's happening, and I'm not there. I promised Leland no matter what, I'd be there.
Well, you can't help it, Joe. Well, anyway, sometimes these things take more time than you'd think. You'll probably get there on time.
Not probably, Mr. Elkins. I will get there on time. Come on, Mr. Clovis, let's roll.
All righty, Joe.
You set, Big Tom?
Set, Mr. Brody.
Come on, then, let's go.
All right, Joe.
Got the time?
11:45. We're an hour late. Excuse me.
Come on, let's go.
Wait, let her get started. No one's paying attention to us.
There she goes. Come on, Clint.
Alright, so that
Give me a hand. There. Grab the rung.
she was streaming for a while but took a break for a bit. She streamed a lot of Minecraft and she plans on doing it again someday. Hey, that's okay. Look, I've got a lot of people that take breaks. I get it. You know? I do not hate anybody that takes a break. You know, take a break if you need it. Your mentality is way more needed and necessary than, you know, being popular on the internet. Sometimes you just need some time. And I get it.
Bringing you Mr. Frank Lovejoy in The Wreck of the Old 97.
You know,
Tonight's production
I've got
radio's
a few
outstanding
people
theater
that are
thrills,
like that right now that just need
Suspense.
some time away from streaming and stuff like that. Give it a moment and stuff like that. I don't hate them or anything like that, you know. Give yourself a moment. Your brain needs some time. I, on the other hand, it's just me. My personal thing is that I want to make a graphic novel, and the only way I can make a graphic novel is by putting the time and effort into it, and the only way I want to put it in. Her persona isn't in the Discord, but if you look at the Discord, she has it on her profile. Ah, okay. Hold up, everybody. I know. Break for just a moment. Corporate account payable medium seeking. Just a moment. Corporate account payable medium speaking. Just a moment.
And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite. And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Frank Lovejoy in Elliot Lewis's production of The Wreck of the Old 97. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
They gave him his orders at Monroe, Virginia.
Don't think I can find him. Gosh darn it. I'll find it later. It's okay. It's alright. It's okay. I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk. I'll find them later. Ah, she's Kaijo Wolf. Oh, okay. Kaijo Wolf.
The engineer and the fireman and the mail car clerk who were supposed to be there.
That helps way more. Ah, yes, I've seen. Ah, that's who you're talking about. Okay. Alright, my brain now is making connections.
I'm shoveling as fast as I can, Mr. Brody.
Give me all you got until we cross White Oak Mountain. And you can stand back and watch 97 roll.
Yeah, I just noticed that mistake.
Lynchburg down at
It's okay.
grade,
It's
ending with a
alright.
curve and a sign, a
No
big
problem,
sign that
Shy.
said, slow speed.
You're all good.
Right ahead of that, the Stillhouse Trestle.
Look,
over
I
Cherry
wasn't
Stone
gonna
Creek.
judge.
The run from Monroe
I'm just
to
glad
Spencer
that
only took
you're
4
hanging out
hours
with me
and
for
15
just
minutes
even a
to our
moment.
And that day, they had to pick up an hour. And that's a lot of time to catch up on.
Joe Brody turned to his old fireman, said, shovel on more coal. For when we hit that old white mountain, you can see old 97 roll.
Shovel it in, boys! Shovel it in! We got time to make up on this one.
You sure gobbled that coal, Mr. Brody.
We picked up...
But yeah, she's been joining me on streams, and it just feels right to also make her one. That's okay. Yeah. No, it's all good. No, it's all good. You know? It's a-okay. I'm gonna see if my computer can fucking handle anything. Because, I'm on tablet right now. But I have been given a free tower, and I'm gonna see if it works. If all works, I can start working on shit. It'll be so good.
Clint!
Yeah.
This train ain't going very fast.
He's climbing, honey boy. Wait till we get over the mountain, you'll see it go.
I don't like it.
Bam,
I don't think we
and
ought to
then
hop this train.
invert.
You don't like it? Just anytime you like to, honey boy.
What is it? Come here, you. So I'm just on tablet, and then I'll actually have to sit in a regular seat, though. I've been just laying on my bed being real fucking comfy, but now I'm gonna have to actually sit on my shitty chair and actually have to have real posture when actually working.
Almost all of the time, there is. And after the night, when the gentlemen say the kind
Oh
things
shit!
and
No,
smile
too
and
bright.
shake my hand,
Don't like
boy,
it. Don't like it.
tomorrow there'll be no train to climb
Yeah, that's a
aboard.
lot better.
Tomorrow there'll be nothing but
Select,
the slippers
and
and the
then
pipe
just
and
a
the
few
fire.
things to select. So,
Not as a reward after a day's run, but for what's left of my life. Sleep late every morning. Go fishing every day. Who wants pleasure all the time?
I know. I know.
Never to ride old 97 again.
These are like, what the
Never
fuck
to
is
have a
that?
job to do. Never to be needed. They call it retirement. I think it's death.
I see you.
I wish we'd
I see
never
you,
get
goddamn
to
bastard.
Danville.
You son of a bitch.
Made up 20 minutes so far, Tom.
No, I knew you would.
This is one great engine, Tom.
Goodbye, comfy bed.
85
Hello,
miles an hour,
shitty
half
chair.
You going through Lynchburg this fast?
Fuck.
I'll slow her. I don't want to
Just
scare the
like
folks.
that.
You'll
Fucking.
spoil all the milk for 5 miles around town. You barrel through here at 85.
We'll slow her to
What are
70
you doing?
then, huh, Tom?
Yes, I guess that'd be real considered, Mr. Brody.
Stop.
A long, tough road from Lynchburg to Danville, and it's down
Alright, I'm
a
gonna head off now.
3-mile grade. It
Hope
was
you have a great
down that
stream.
grade
Yeah,
that
that's
you
okay.
walked
Thank
in.
you.
Everest
Thank you
can
for
see
just
what
coming
a
in.
jump he
Don't worry about it. I'll be fine. That's fine. No, get some rest. Worry about your health. Get some rest. Stay awesome. Stay positive. You know, thank you for the raid, and thanks for just coming in and saying hey. You know, you'd be surprised at how much that really does help me. You're awesome and amazing, and also,
story makes some sense. Here's what must have happened. Now remember, the two killers were hanging on right behind the locomotive.
you're a good friend, Shide. Never forget that. Yeah.
Attaboy, Tom. We're only 8 minutes behind time now.
I'll try. No promises, now.
You done made up 52 minutes already.
We better start slowing for the trestle. We'll pick up the 8 minutes when we cross it.
Just gonna get rid of some of this shit. This garbage crap. This fucking garbage crap.
Clint, he's slowing down.
Yeah, I feel it.
I wonder why.
97 doesn't stop between Monroe and Danville except for emergency.
Maybe there's an emergency.
Yeah, us. We're the emergency. Sheriff at Monroe telephoned ahead. I guess we skipped town on this train.
That's right.
What are we gonna do? We can't jump off.
See that hose?
Yeah?
That's the airline for the brakes. Hold my arm so I don't slip.
What are you gonna do?
Turn that valve, honey boy. Turn off the air
And
brake.
now I'm gonna make
Train
it
ain't stopping this
go
side of
like
Danville.
that. I don't need any like lines or anything like that. I'm gonna try completely without lines. So that means I gotta open up my boob window time.
Still going to make too fast, Mr. Brody?
Here, Tom.
No, sir, not with you in the throttle. I was just observing, though. Ain't we going to make too fast?
We'll slow her a bit more, Tom. We can't make that curve at 90. Tom,
Yes, sir?
the brakes. The brakes don't work.
Lord almighty!
Look, all the way back and nothing happened. wrecking crew got there that night. Came down from Lynchburg, just like we're doing. They found the old 97, her nose buried in a mud bank.
None of them got there to Danville.
Yeah, I often wondered about the station that night. Strange group of people waiting. The committee from the railroad with Mr. Clovis Goldwatch. Big Tom's family to greet their youngest son. And a carriage waiting to take Joe Brody to the hospital to see his new baby, which I understand was a little girl. And maybe, off in a corner, a few men with guns waiting for the killers.
And that's what happened, huh?
Well, that's what my dad used to tell me.
What time is it?
It's 8:20. We'll have breakfast in Danville.
Purple.
Oh, there you are. See, down there?
Purple, light blue,
That's Cherry Stone
purple
Creek.
to orange.
See that old mud
Ugh.
bank? That's where Joe Brody wrecked the old 97.
On a cold, frosty morning in
I'll have to do that.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Frank Lovejoy.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite, world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry. And during these early months of 52, the Autolite family joins in saluting the leading car manufacturers
I'll go with the
who
red.
install Autolite products as original equipment. Our Autolite family is made up of the nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast and in still other Autolite plants in many foreign countries. It also includes more than 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite, as well as 96,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States and thousands more in Canada and throughout the world. Our Autolite family will salute Nash Motors on the next Autolite Suspense television program. If you live in a television area, check the day and time of Suspense on television so that you'll be sure to see this program. And remember, be with us next week for another thrilling Autolite Suspense program on radio.
Next week, a murder is committed efficiently and safely. And then our star, Mr. Robert Young, finds there was a witness to the murder. The problem, who was the witness? The story is called Backfire, and it will be presented next week on Suspense.
Autolite and its 96,000 dealers bring you Mr. Robert Young in tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite presents a story about a man who commits a murder efficiently and safely, only to find there was a witness. The story is called A Murder of Necessity, starring Mr. Robert Young.
Great performance, eh, Harlow?
It sure is, Hap. Reminds me of the outstanding performance of that team combination of precision-made units, including the Autolite generator, starting motor, coil, distributor, and all the other important parts of the complete Autolite electrical system in your Autolite-equipped car.
I know, Harlow, but I'm talking about the show.
And what a show that Autolite electrical system puts on, Hap. It works every time you start and run your car, blow your horn, light your lights, or use your electric windshield wiper, cigarette lighter, radio, or heater. And every unit is related by Autolite engineering design and manufacturing skill to give you the smoothest performance money can buy.
Yes. Well, here's the next act, Harlow.
The next act, friends, is to specify Autolite original factory parts when replacements are needed for your Autolite-equipped car. Because from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with A Murder of Necessity and the performance of Mr. Robert Young, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
I'm walking along a city street with murder in my heart. Tonight is the night I must kill. Remember the name, Herbie Sachs. Fat, sweaty Herbie Sachs. He'll be sitting behind his big desk, and he'll look up at me and smile, and his fat neck will spill over the expensive collar of the expensive shirt that he'll be wearing. So far, so good. No one around. So far, so good. Why do I keep saying that? Some sign painter will have a new job. Scrape the name in gold letters off the glass door. Herbert J. Sachs, private investigator, will soon be dead, gentlemen. Through the panel of the glass door, the fat shadow of the big man sitting happily in his swivel chair. Mr. Sachs waits within, murderer. Knock on his door.
Hold it a minute. The janitor wants to come in.
Gets up from the chair, Herbie. Come and open the door. Meet your doom.
Start in the other office. Oh. Hello, Mark. Well, what do you want?
A few moments of your time.
Well, I'm busy. Let's make it
Inside, Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie. Sit down.
What do you want?
Herbie, I'm through. You bled me for the last nickel.
What are you talking about?
I made a mistake a long time ago. I went hunting and I killed a man. It was an accident. But instead of turning myself in and getting off on a charge of manslaughter, I listened to the advice of a man named Herbie Sachs.
Go home.
Nobody saw you shoot him, you said. Nobody did, except you, Herbie. I'll be silent, said Herbie.
Now, look, Mark.
I've had to pay for your silence. Haven't I, Herbie? Through the nose.
Who do you think you are? Coming here like this? Why, for 2 cents?
For 2 cents, you'd sell your mother, your grandmother, and your wife, Gretchen. A nice girl who doesn't deserve you.
I'm warning you, Mark.
You're through warning people, Herbie. I wonder how many others will breathe easier when once they learn you're no longer exercising the big stick.
What are you going to do?
This. Sign painter can scrape the gold letters off the glass door. Herbert J. Sachs sits dead in his swivel chair. The blood running a crazy pattern down the front of his expensive shirt. His mouth silent. No words, no accusations. No talk of any kind. No talk. Wait. Herbie was talking to somebody when I knocked on the door. Nobody here. Who was he talking to? Must have been talking to somebody on the telephone. He didn't hang it up. Hello? Hello? Who's there? Please don't... Herbie's desk drawer had been off the hook. Herbie'd been talking to someone on the phone. Who had it been? Somebody I knew? Somebody I didn't know? Somebody like Herbie who'd make me suffer some more? I had to find out. But how? How? I got an idea. The phone pad. Today, March 24th, and under the date, 3 names. L. Collins, the name Janice, and a phone number, and an Art LaFoon. Could it have been one of them? On the phone, you heard... what? Was it a radio? Was it a record? That's all you have to go on, but it'll have to be enough. Even now, whoever it was may be calling the police. Down in the corner drugstore, I look up L. Collins. There's only one. Strange for a name like Collins, but only one. Lucius Collins, who lives on North Woodburn Drive. The taxi gets me there in 20 minutes.
Hope everybody's doing good.
Mrs. Lucius Collins?
Hope everybody's enjoying themselves and
is your
just
husband at
chilling
home?
out.
Yes, you want to see him?
If it's possible.
Come in. Just follow me. What did you say your name was?
I didn't say, but it's Paul Drake.
Oh.
Just doing the basic coloring right over here.
There's a Mr. Drake who wants to see you.
Drake? Yes, Mr. Collins. A mutual friend asked me to call. I'd like to speak to you alone, if I may.
I'll close the door.
Mr. Collins...
sit down, Mr. Drake.
Thank you.
You said a mutual friend sent you?
Okay.
Herbie Sachs sent me, Mr. Collins.
What does he want?
He's not satisfied with the present setup.
Mr. Drake, I'm paying him all I can now. I can't pay anymore. If I did, my wife might find out. Then how would I explain it? Doesn't Mr. Sachs understand that?
He's not satisfied, Mr. Collins. That's all I can tell you.
But what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Herbie just gave me a general picture of your situation. Perhaps if you filled me in on the details...
There are no details, Mr. Drake. I made a mistake once. I met a girl. We grew fond of each other. Naturally, my wife suspected something was wrong. She went to Mr. Sachs and had him trail me. He found out about us, the girl and me, but he didn't tell my wife. He said he wouldn't tell her if I paid him. And so I did. The girl went away, but I still pay Mr. Sachs.
I understand, Mr. Collins.
You do? You really do?
Have you been home all evening, Mr. Collins?
Well, yes.
I guess I'll just tell Herbie what you told me. If you can't increase it, you can't do it. That radio over there looks like an old one.
Huh? Oh, it is. We've had that for years. It's broken. Haven't bothered to have it fixed.
Mm-hmm. You got a phonograph?
Yes, an old one. The kind you wind's not much good. It's up in the attic, stored away.
Well, thanks, Mr. Collins.
Thanks.
I mean, for seeing me, for letting me talk to you.
Well, I don't understand it. A man like you working for Herbie Sachs?
I know, Mr. Collins. I don't seem like the kind that would. That poor little man. If only I could have told him, whispered to him, yelled to him, Mr. Collins, your unhappiness is over. The man who held you in the arms of terror is no more. He's dead. He's up in his office, spilling blood all over his nice, clean carpet. You're a free man, free to pick up the pieces of your life and start again. But tomorrow you'll know. It'll be in all the papers. That'll be soon enough. The first name on the list I check off. Lucius Collins is a man with problems of his own. He didn't play his broken radio or the old phonograph stored away up in his attic. So I call the phone number next to the name on the pad that reads Janice.
Just picked it up and walked away with it. Leon's bar, Tech speaking.
Is Janice there?
Yeah, but she's awful busy waiting on tables. Can I give her a message?
No. I'll call later.
Okay.
That is darn good.
I found Leon's bar downtown on Main. It was a cheap place, but it was full of people. Then I saw the girl waiting on the tables. She was pretty, but a prettiness that was cheap like the bar. I walked over to an empty booth in the corner and sat down. I waited. Then she saw me and came over and stood beside me.
What'll you have?
Whiskey and water.
Whiskey and water, right.
Janice. Come here a minute.
Yeah? What is it?
I want to talk to you.
Look, I'm awful busy right now.
Herbie sent me.
I didn't get your name.
Drake. Paul Drake.
Herbie sent you?
Yes, Herbie sent me.
For what?
What does Herbie usually want?
What kind of a holdup is this? Twice in 1 week.
Herbie's an ugly man, isn't he, Janice?
You're a funny guy. I'd almost get the impression you didn't like him.
Well, it isn't necessary for an employee to like his employer, is it?
No. What are you? His collection agency?
In a sense. I'm also an advisor of his.
What do you mean?
Sometimes I advise him about his clients. Perhaps I could advise him about you.
What would you advise him?
I think you're a pretty girl, a very pretty girl, Janice. I'd advise him of that.
You shouldn't say things like that.
Why not?
Because they're not true.
Yes, they are.
What do you want from me, mister?
I'd like to take you home tonight to where you live. That's all I want.
That's a lot.
I think you're pretty, Janice. I told you.
I get off in an hour. You can take me home.
In an hour. She got up from the table and walked across the room. There was something strange about this girl, something I didn't understand, but something I had to find out. She stopped at the jukebox in the corner of the bar next to the phone booth and dropped a dime into the machine. That's when I heard the song again.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Robert Young in A Murder of Necessity. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Well, Harlow, I'll admit it's the best system going.
And it's always going when your car is, Hap. The Autolite electrical system that works every second your engine runs, as well as when you blow your horn, light your lights, or use your electric windshield wiper, cigarette lighter, radio, or heater.
And the Autolite electrical system is used by the finest, Harlow.
Yes, sir, Hap, as original equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars, trucks, and tractors. And in the Autolite electrical system, every unit and component part is related by Autolite engineering design and manufacturing skill to give you the smoothest performance money can buy.
That's why it pays to keep your car running right.
Right you are, Hap. So, friends, make it a point to see your car dealer or authorized Autolite service station soon. You can easily locate your nearest authorized Autolite service station in the classified section of your telephone directory under Automobile Electrical Service. Or you can call Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25. She will gladly tell you his location. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Robert Young in Elliot Lewis's production of A Murder of Necessity. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Oh. Nice music. Like it?
My favorite record. I play it all the time.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Well, shall we go?
I'll call a cab.
You don't have to.
Why not? Ride home in style.
It's only a couple of blocks from here. We can walk. Wouldn't you like to walk?
All right. Beautiful night. Not a cloud in the sky.
I love fresh air.
What's your last name, Janice?
I've got a lot of them. Call me Janice Gibson.
All right, Janice Gibson. What kind of a girl are you, Janice?
If you work for Herbie Sachs, you know all about me.
Not the details, pretty girl.
Why do you keep saying pretty girl?
Because it's a statement of fact. You are pretty, Janice.
I'm the kind of girl that you read about in the confession magazines. Only they make those stories up. They're fiction. My story's not fiction. It's a real one.
I believe you.
Long time ago, a girl with big ideas came out of the sticks. Landed in a big city.
And she met a man named Herbie Sachs.
She met him after she'd gone off the deep end. She wanted thrills. Those thrills ended her up in a straitjacket in a sanitarium. They were the kind of thrills you don't write the family back home about.
Mm-hmm. But how does Herbie figure?
Herbie is a man with many ways and means. And when the girl ended up an addict, Herbie was the big brother. He had a soft shoulder and he stretched out a helping hand.
Mm-hmm.
After I was cured, he told me I had to pay him for his silence. The silence that would keep the family back home from finding out about the thrilling things that had happened to the girl from the sticks.
Are you over those thrills, pretty girl?
Yes. Well over them.
That's good.
Why do you work for a man like him?
Check it off the living. Were you at the bar all night tonight?
Ever since 8 o'clock. Why?
Nothing. I guess I'm making conversation because I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Look, mister, you can walk on the other side of the street. I didn't
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't mean it that way, Janice. Honest. Believe me, what I meant was I didn't want to talk because I suddenly feel like kissing you.
This is where I live. The bug house. Want to come up and meet the fleas? Courtesy of Herbie Sachs.
Janice, don't be bitter.
I got one room and a hot plate. What am I supposed to do? Dance a dance because I can't afford anything better?
Look, I'll talk to Herbie. I'm his advisor, remember? Maybe I'll advise him to change his mind.
If you thought you could...
I'll try. That much I promise. I'll advise him that you ought to have a nice apartment to live in. And a stove.
Paul?
Yes.
You want to come upstairs? I'll make you some coffee.
Well, I have something to take care of, and it's late. Maybe after...
You won't come back. Once you leave, I won't see you anymore. You're that kind of guy.
I'll come back.
I won't see you again. I know I won't. Kiss me, Paul. Hard. Like you were going away for a long time. Come upstairs. Let me make you some coffee.
I'll be back.
Paul.
Janice, someday if you ever find out that this is all over, go back home to where there aren't thrilling things for a girl like you to do.
I don't know.
They'll never know. Home is a long and faraway memory.
I don't know.
Promise me. On the kiss.
Maybe. Maybe, Paul. Maybe.
I took her in my arms and kissed her again. Then she turned and disappeared through the door into the cheap boarding house. And the black night closed in on me again, and the fear and fright returned. Under the street light up at the corner, I checked the last name on the phone pad, Art LaFoon. He's not at his place of business on Houston Avenue, the watchman tells me. Mr. LaFoon is never at his place of business at 2:30 in the morning, he says with raised eyebrows. Even though it is a novelty business and novel things are always happening. So I wait until 8 o'clock the following morning. Near his novelty business, I find a very shabby hotel, and for $2, the night clerk tells me that I can have a bed with a clean sheet and a loud knock on my door when it's 7 o'clock.
Kazoo! Real Kazoo Gaming. Not that fake Kazoo Gaming. They better watch
I'm standing in
themselves.
front of Mr. LaFoon's novelty business on the 3rd floor.
Can't wait for the copycat, the fake Kazoo Gaming.
Blue steel that means death for Mr. LaFoon.
Take him out back and we'll treat him right.
I promise you, Midge, when LaFoon makes a
We ain't gonna have that shit.
Okay, kid, I'll see you.
No fakers around.
Hello, brother. Mr. LaFoon? That's it, brother, LaFoon. Anything that's novel or new, see LaFoon. Here, let me show you these small telescopes we just got in.
Not
I
gonna
made some a
handle
couple of
those
years ago, but those
fakers.
were tame. Yeah, take a look at this one. Look, go ahead. Just
I
blink
hope
your
your
eye.
stream has been going well. I hope
Herbie
everything
said-
else
yeah,
has
I was-
been going great so far.
What was that, brother? Herbie Sachs.
Let's see
Yeah.
some blue.
You mentioned the name, Herbie Sachs. What am I supposed to do? You know Herbie. Who are you, anyway? I work for Herbie Sachs.
Look around.
You made another statement. Tell me how to react, brother.
Hey, look, Mr. Novelty Man, I don't know how to convince you, but I'll get rough if I have to.
Okay, take it easy, brother, take it easy. That's an expensive shirt.
That's why I'm here. Herbie doesn't like you buying such expensive shirts.
Who are you?
I'm recently hired to make collections. I've come to collect.
You know what? I think you're lying. You don't work for Herbie Sachs. You don't work for him at all.
I told you I was just recently hired.
And why didn't he tell me you'd be around, brother? I talked to him on the phone last night. Why didn't he tell me, huh?
You talked to Herbie on the phone last night?
Yeah, brother, I talked to him.
What happened when you talked to Herbie?
What do you mean, what happened? Who are you, brother?
Nobody you'd be interested in.
Yeah? Well, maybe the cops would be interested.
Put it down.
Get your hands off of me.
Later, Mr. LaFoon. Later, we'll take care of some unfinished business. When it's dark and no one will see me. I got out of the building. I had to before someone saw me. Saw my face and would recognize it again. But tonight when it's dark, I'll wait for you and follow you, Mr. LaFoon. It was you on the phone. Now I know. Buy a paper and go home. Lay low. When I get home, I open the paper, and there it is. On page 2. An account of the death of Herbert J. Sachs, the private investigator. Shot through the chest twice by an unknown assailant. How soon would it be before Mr. LaFoon would tell the police the name of the unknown assailant? Long enough. Because LaFoon was the kind of man who'd wait for the killer to get in touch with him. LaFoon was the kind of man who could be bribed. And then while I tried to sleep... Oh.
Mark, this is Gretchen Sachs, Herbie's wife.
Yeah. Hello, Gretchen.
Did you read about Herbie in the papers this morning?
Yeah, I read Gretchen.
I want to talk to you, Mark.
Talk?
It's important. Can you come out to the house?
Have the police been out to the house yet?
No. I was down for a few minutes at the morgue to identify the body.
That's all?
That's all. It's important that I talk to you. I was on the other end of the phone, Mark.
Why didn't you answer me when I picked up the receiver?
I had to take time to think things through.
Have you thought them through?
Yes. Will you come out to the house and talk to me?
Yes. Gretchen, I'll be out. In a little while.
I'll wait for you.
It was Herbie's own wife, Gretchen, on the phone. Sweet and lovable Gretchen. And now the wife of the man I murdered waits to talk with me. What about? The weather? No. No, she waits to talk business. Before the police arrive, she waits to take up where the fat man left off. Another murder of necessity. Ring the doorbell, murderer.
Hello, Mark. Come in. Mark! Oh, Mark. You fool. You fool.
I'm sorry, Gretchen.
I hated him. I hated him.
What are you saying?
I couldn't stand him. Everything he was. I hated. He wouldn't let me go.
No. I don't believe you.
Last night, I called him on the telephone. Called him to tell him to come home. Because...
No.
When he got home, Mark, I was going to kill him.
Gretchen.
Operator, get me police headquarters. I just committed a murder that wasn't necessary at all.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Robert Young. This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite, world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Our Autolite family is made up of the nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast and in still other Autolite plants in many foreign countries. It also includes more than 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite, as well as 96,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States and thousands more in Canada and throughout the world. On April 1st, Autolite will present the national television preview of the Great Parade of Stars automobile show from the Grand Ballroom of New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel. This program may be seen at the regular Autolite Suspense television time on April 1st, or a few days later in some television areas. Don't miss this great program. And remember to be with us next week for another thrilling Autolite Suspense show on radio.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Richard Widmark in a true story of murder. Tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, you're going to hear a true story, a classic of American crime, as documented by criminologist Edmund Pearson. The story is called Mate Bram. Tonight's star, Mr. Richard Widmark.
Well, Harlow, tomorrow marks the opening of baseball season.
Why, my team's been playing all year, Hap.
Oh, what team is that?
The Autolite electrical system in every Autolite-equipped car. And that's a real team. Because every unit, like the coil, distributor, generator, battery, starting motor, and set of spark plugs, are related by Autolite engineering design and manufacturing skill to give you the smoothest performance money can buy.
But that team doesn't play ball, Harlow.
Oh, does a lot more, Hap. Why, the Autolite electrical system goes to bat every time you start your car. And it keeps right on working every second your car's running. Works every time you light your lights, blow your horn, use your electric windshield wiper, radio, or heater.
Real major league stuff, eh, Harlow?
You bet your bat, Hap. So, friends, when your Autolite-equipped car needs replacement parts, always insist on Autolite original factory parts. It pays. Because from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with Mate Bram and the performance of Mr. Richard Widmark, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
Dear Mr. Cooper, I write to you as my true friend who has given me wise counsel in the past, who knows of my faults and weaknesses, and who also knows my strength. Respecting the latter, I advise you that during the past year I have totally abstained from drink in any form. And because of that and hard study, I now have a first mate's ticket. It was in that berth that in Boston I signed on the barkentine Herbert Fuller, from where I now write you to give you a report of this fatal voyage. As a matter of truth, I myself might be dead when you read this, if it ever reaches you. I signed on, the master of the vessel being Charles I. Nash, in the company of the following men, each important to this account.
Henry J. Slice, seaman.
Aye, sir. Here, Captain.
Sign this line, Slice. You'll have the port watch.
Aye, sir.
Charlie Brown, seaman.
Aye, sir.
This line, Brown. Port watch.
Aye, sir.
Jonathan Spencer, steward.
Yes, sir.
Right here, Spencer. Glad to have you aboard again.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thomas Bram, first officer.
Yes, Captain.
This line. First trip, Mr. Bram. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
August Blomberg, second officer.
Aye, sir.
This line, Mr. Blomberg.
Aye, sir.
There are two other names important to this account. Lester H. Monks, who came aboard as a passenger in the interest of his health, as the nature of our voyage was to be tropical. The other name is Laura Nash, wife of Captain Nash. If I had known that this woman was going to sail with us, I never would have signed on. But when I saw her and learned that she was, I didn't sign off, although I could have. I stayed on because she was compelling, with a bold look, and because a man is always a hunter. That same day, still in harbor, when first I saw her, I went to the steward to learn more.
Yes, sir, Mr. Your name is Bram, isn't it?
Yes, my name is Bram. Can I get a cup of tea?
Yes, sir. It's hot. Are you a home man, Mr. Bram, or did you come from another ship?
I came from another ship.
Well, what ship was it?
The Antilles.
She came in yesterday. We go out tomorrow. You don't like it shoreside, Mr. Bram?
Nope, I find it too much trouble. You've sailed this ship before?
2 trips.
What is this woman that goes with us?
She's the captain's wife, sir.
I know that. Is she a good wife, Spencer?
I don't know what you mean, sir.
Oh, she's younger than he is. Why does a young woman marry with a man like that and go sailing off on a ship with him and 11 other men?
I don't know, Mr. Bram.
No lady would do that, would she?
I don't know many ladies, Mr. Bram. You won't find out asking me. You'd better ask her.
Maybe I will. Hello, Blomberg.
More deck cargo ready to load for it.
I'll see to it.
You want tea, Mr. Blomberg?
Tea time. Spencer, you've sailed this ship before. What do you know about this woman that goes with us?
Nothing.
What kind of woman she is? The way she looks at a man.
I don't know, sir. I don't know.
When I left the steward, the second mate was asking the same questions I asked. I mentioned this to remind you that I was not alone with my thoughts. The same ones were in the minds of the others. Perhaps all of them. This, then, my good friend, was the state and nature of the ship when we made to open sea.
Stretch.
The first day passed in shaking her down. But then evening was upon us,
go
and the
for
woman
2
ate supper
hours?
in the cabin at the officers' table, which also included the passenger, Mr. Monks. These meals, there were only 6 of them, may be exaggerated in my memory, but I think not. It seems now that nothing was discussed except that I abstained from the wine that was served. It was difficult because I didn't want to give as my reason for refusal a fact that you know, sir. That I am a slave to drink unless I abstain entirely.
Your glass, Laura?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Monks?
Yes, please. Thank you, Captain.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Bram?
No, sir, I don't want any.
Mr. Blomberg?
Yeah, I like good wine.
Are you a religious man, Mr. Bram?
No, sir, not overly so.
Wondered if that was why you wouldn't have a glass of wine with us.
No, I don't care for wine.
What you drink then? Rum like the pirates?
I don't drink at all.
I didn't think that a seafaring man lived that didn't drink, Mr. Bram.
Seafaring men are much like any men, Mr. Monk. Some of them drink, some of them don't.
Wine with a meal and a good whiskey or brandy at the end of a watch. Nothing can take their place.
Is there a reason you don't drink, Mr. Bram?
Yes. I don't like to.
Have you ever drunk?
No, I never have.
I don't believe that. I've heard that some men don't drink because they expose their true selves when they do. Do you have a true self that you are hiding?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, madam. You are seeing my true self, a man who doesn't drink.
Oh, there must be a reason. And I'll find out what it is.
That's enough, Laura. You're too forward. Eat your supper.
As I stated, my memory of that first supper may now be exaggerated, but I think not. There was more drinking after the meal, but I left, as it was my watch. I know that the second mate stayed with the woman, though, even after Captain Nash had retired to his cot in the chart room. Now, this sleeping arrangement must be explained because it's important. The captain with a cot in the chart room forward in the main house, the woman in the first cabin starboard, the passenger in the second. Across the companionway, I in the first cabin port, Mr. Blomberg in the second. I heard the woman come to her quarters after I'd been relieved. And I think that night, I started dreaming about her and her taunting smile. And with her, I dreamed of being drunk. The next day passed the same, and the next night. There's little enough of interest on a ship, and anything unusual is leapt upon. On this ship, it was my sobriety. The first sign of trouble came upon us during the third evening. And I swear upon our friendship, sir, that it was not of my doing. I was only walking aft past the main house.
Mr. Bram.
Yes?
I'm in my quarters.
I'm still on watch, Mr. Blomberg. What do you want?
I think of you too much today. Now I don't like you.
What you think is your business, not mine.
And that I don't like you?
It's a man's privilege to like or dislike.
You don't care?
Well, there'd be nothing for me to do about it if I did.
There is something.
Oh?
Stop acting like you're better than us, all of us.
I'm no better or worse than anyone.
You think you are? You think so because we drink and you don't? You think you're saint or something?
You're wrong, and I'll thank you to leave me alone.
No.
Let go of me.
I give you a chance to make me wrong. I give you a chance to act like man. I ask you now, come in my quarters, drink with me like friends.
I don't want to drink, Blomberg.
Is insult not to drink when man asks you?
Leave off me. Take it as an insult if you like. I say I have my reasons and my rights to do as I choose. Now, mind your own affairs. There'll be no trouble. Don't try to run me.
You woman.
Leave off me.
Oh, you, I strike.
Mr. Bram! Mr. Blomberg!
Kill you next time. What is the meaning of this?
There were some words, sir.
What words? His woman. Words about Laura?
No, sir.
I've seen the way both of you are mooning about her. There's an end to that right now. You'll both eat in your own quarters from this day on. Stay away from her. Your officers on this ship. I'll go to your quarters, Mr. Bram.
I see.
There'll be a report on this, Mr. Blomberg. You'll relieve the watch.
Mr. Bram. What happened?
There was some trouble.
About what?
Nothing, man trouble.
I heard what my husband said. Were you fighting over me?
No.
Why should you fight over me? You've hardly looked at me.
You're a married woman, Mrs. Nash.
I think that makes more difference to you than it does to me. Why are you so good?
You couldn't choose a word farther from the truth, and I think I'd better go inside.
Wait, why did you fight? Because he was teasing you about not drinking, wasn't it? He told me he was going to.
Yes, that was why. Are you playing the game with me, too?
Oh, I'm intrigued. You're a man with a past, aren't you? And you won't drink because you're afraid someone will find out what it is.
Think what you like.
Don't you know that's a challenge to a woman like me? Wouldn't you even drink with me?
Yes. Yes, perhaps with you.
Is that a promise?
No, Mrs. Nash, I promise nothing anymore. I've been ordered to my quarters. I'd better go. Mr. Cooper, sir, I feel as though I should apologize even to you who know me so well, but I will not. Because I must shamelessly recount all details. There were no more words except ship words between Mr. Blomberg and myself. We ate in our quarters, and for the 3 days following the quarrel on deck, Captain Nash vigilantly allowed his wife no freedom on the ship. I hope you'll understand that, however wrong, her words to me lived in my mind, and they grew. So when I was relieved of watch on the fourth night following, I was very pleased to find her waiting inside the open door to her quarters.
Mr. Bram?
Yes?
I've been waiting for you. Won't you come in?
Where's Captain Nash?
In the chart room. Asleep. I knew he wouldn't watch me forever.
What do you want?
Just to talk to someone who's young. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
There's no harm. I want you to know that.
All right. Laura, there's no harm.
Whether I'm married or not, I'm a woman, am I not?
Yes, you are.
And I deserve to have the company that I like.
Mm-hmm.
I brought a bottle of wine.
I see that you have.
I stole it when he wasn't looking.
You took a chance.
I thought it would be nice. Shall I open it?
Yes, if you like.
Here you are.
Thank you.
You haven't been very nice to me, have you?
I've hardly been able to be anything to you.
Then shall we drink to how nice you can be?
All right. Oh, I drank, my friend, the bottle of wine. And when I left her, I went into Mr. Blomberg's quarters and stole what he had and took it to my own. The warmth that I remembered in my middle body. The courage I assumed. The eyes that weren't really mine, seeing things. The false happiness, the excitement. The great, proud feeling of self-satisfaction. The elation. The slipping away from reality. And the wonder of it. The pleasure of numbness. The peace. And the luxury of knowing that when you went to bed, you'd sleep.
Mr. Brown! Mr. Brown!
What?
Mr. Brown!
Yeah, just what is it? What? What's the matter? What's the matter?
There's murder.
What? What's that you say?
You've got to come up on the deck. The captain and his wife, Mr. Blomberg, they've all been murdered. They're dead.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Richard Widmark in Mate Bram. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Harlow, where do you expect the Autolite team to finish?
Oh, I don't expect it to finish at all, Hap. That Autolite Electrical Systems job is never done. It works when you start your car and every second your engine runs, as well as when you blow the horn, turn on your lights, electric windshield wiper, radio, or heater.
That Autolite electrical team must have some real fans, Harlow.
You bet it does, Hap. The many leading makes of our finest cars, trucks, and tractors that use Autolite Electrical Systems as original equipment. And in that great team, every unit and component part is related by Autolite engineering design and manufacturing skill to give the finest performance money can buy.
Who manages this team, Harlow?
Your car dealer or authorized Autolite service station. You can quickly learn the location of your nearest authorized Autolite service station in the classified section of your telephone directory under Automobile Electrical Service. Treat your car to a periodic checkup soon. It pays. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Richard Widmark in Elliot Lewis's production of Mate Bram. A true story well calculated to keep you in suspense.
It was 8 bells, midnight, when I went into the woman's quarters. Sometime later, when I left. I didn't want to drink, but what could I do? Explain myself by telling her about the last time? The fights, the broken windows, the jail, and the other times? I should have, but considering the situation, I doubt any man would. I remember leaving, going to Mr. Blomberg's quarters, then to my own. But there, after another while, my memory stops. I have lost an hour, my good friend, or perhaps 2, until Mr. Monks awoke me some minutes before 4 with a gun in his hand.
There's a murderer on board. He killed them all with an axe. Mr. Brown. What is the matter?
What are you doing with that gun?
None of us is safe. There's a murderer on board. What are you doing?
Water first.
You've been drinking, Mr. Bram.
Yes, I have.
You'll have to sober up. You're in command now.
I'm all right. Where are they?
Mrs. Nash is in her cabin. I'll show you. There.
Yeah. What do you know of this?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
How did you learn?
Something woke me up. It was like a scream, but I didn't know with all the sounds of the ship.
When was that?
I can't be sure. I went to sleep again. Then I woke up again.
What woke you that time?
I don't know, but I began to worry about the sound I'd heard, the scream. I got up and went to tell the captain about it. He was dead. I was sure the sound meant something, and I came to Mrs. Nash's cabin. Then I saw Mr. Blomberg's door open and found him the same way. There's a maniac on board.
Come with me. We'll look at the others. We looked in the quarters of the others and found no weapon. And I'll state now that when I looked in my locker for my gun, I also looked for bloodstains on the clothes in there and on the clothes I was wearing as I'd slept fully dressed. And I found none. Then, pursuing the actions of Mr. Muggs and me, we awoke the steward and went on deck. Wait. There's the axe.
That's the one. That's the one that did it.
Get rid of it, Mr. Brown. Throw it overboard. The fiend might use it on us next.
No, Mr. Bram. We can't do that, sir. Throw it overboard. That's the weapon. We've got to keep it. By law, we've got to.
All right. We'll keep it aboard. It's Slice at the wheel. We'll see what he knows.
What is it? What's that axe?
There's been murder aboard, Slice.
How long have you been at the wheel?
2 hours, sir. Who is it?
Brown and Kent will share your watch, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Where are they?
Forward, sir. Standing lookout. Who's dead?
The captain and his wife and Mr. Blomberg.
Have you seen anybody on deck, Slice, while you've been at the wheel?
Only you, Mr. Brand. I didn't see nobody else.
I didn't remember. It's a frightful thing to have a man say you were out on deck and not remember. I tried to carry on without arousing suspicion, and this is what I learned. That I had come out and asked for Mr. Blomberg. And upon being told that he was tending the foresail with 2 deckhands, I'd gone back inside. And that then Mr. Blomberg had come aft and gone inside, too. And that he'd never come out again. I couldn't help feeling guilty, but on the other hand, I couldn't help heeding my instinct to protect myself. For example, at my earliest opportunity, when I was not seen, I took that axe and I threw it overboard. But that was wrong. I acted in excitement and fear, and I'm sorry now that I did. When dawn came, I ordered the ship to come about and set her back toward Boston. Soon after this was done, the steward came to me.
The crew wants me to talk to you, sir.
Yes, what about?
They all say they'll be afraid to go to sleep tonight for fear of being murdered in their bunks.
All right, I'll have them all sleep on deck where a watch can be kept over them. And if you will, Spencer, you can tell them all to come on deck in an hour for the funeral services.
Funeral services, sir?
Yes.
We can't put those people over the side, sir. By law, we've got to take them back.
Oh, yes, of course, Spencer, but it's not good to have them on the ship. I mean to put them in the longboat and tow it astern. Now bring them out. And with Captain Nash, bring his Bible. It's open on the table next to his cot.
It is, sir?
I don't know why I thought I knew where the captain's Bible was. I wasn't sure that I did know. But I was afraid to ask Spencer. So once more, on impulse and in fear, I acted. That night, I went aft to the man at the wheel and ordered him below to get my glass, telling him I'd seen a light in the distance. When he was gone, lashing the wheel, I turned with a knife to the line towing the longboat to cut the bodies adrift and to finally destroy the evidence.
Mr. Bram, stop that!
Don't do that, Mr. Bram.
Leave off, Spencer. It's not good to have dead people following along behind. Leave off. What's this for?
For killing those people out there.
No.
It was you, Mr. Bram.
No, I didn't.
You were with the wife last night drinking.
Who says that?
Mr. Slice. Mr. Blomberg told him.
That's no proof.
You know where his Bible was, sir.
And that's nothing either.
You relieved Slice at the wheel. And after that, the axe was missing. Mr. Brown saw you throw it overboard.
I didn't kill him.
Then why were you cutting the longboat free, Mr. Bram?
Hold still, Mr. Bram.
Confess and ease yourself, Mr. Bram.
No, I won't confess. Nobody saw me kill him because I didn't. I didn't.
Come along, Mr. Bram.
Where are you taking me?
To lock you up. By law, we've got to do it.
They put me in irons, locked in my own quarters. And here I have stayed. There have been no more murders in the 3 days past, which does not stand in favor of another killer being aboard and my being innocent. What I have written, my good friend, is the whole truth. And I beg of you to be my legal counsel when my case comes to trial, as I'm sure it will. In my own mind, I am not convinced that I'm guilty. For one reason, that however violent I've been, I have never killed before. Never killed before. If I could only remember. If I could just remember. Why can't I? Why can't I? Why? Why can't I remember?
As the passenger aboard the Fuller, I was called along with the crew to testify in both of Mr. Bram's trials. And each time, I stayed to hear him pronounced guilty by 2 separate courts of law of a crime he steadfastly swore that he did not remember committing.
Suspense. A true story presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Richard Widmark.
And here he is once again, our star, Richard Widmark. It's always good to have you aboard, Dick.
Thank you, Harlow. I sort of feel like one of the family since this is my 4th appearance on Suspense this season.
Well, you are a member of the family, Dick. The Autolite family, which includes 98,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States, nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast, and the 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite.
It's a big family, Harlow, and I'm proud to be included.
Now, we're all proud to be members of the Autolite family, Dick, because Autolite serves the greatest names in the industry. And every Autolite product is backed by constant research and precision built to the highest standards of quality and performance. So remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
Next week, the dramatic recreation of a race 5 brave men made with death. A true story based on the writings of one of those men. Our star will be Mr. Herbert Marshall. The story is called The Diary of Captain Scott. Presented next week on Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Lucian Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Mate Bram was written for Suspense by Gil Dowd. Featured in the cast were Joan Banks, Joseph Kearns, Ben Wright, Lou Merrill, Steve Roberts, Roy Glenn, and Robert North.
Richard Widmark appeared through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, producers of the Technicolor musical With a Song in My Heart, starring Susan Hayward.
And remember next week on Suspense, Mr. Herbert Marshall in The Diary of Captain Scott.
You can buy Autolite electrical parts, Autolite C-full batteries, Autolite standard or resistor-type spark plugs at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Herbert Marshall in a true story. Tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite presents the true story of 5 polar explorers and their race against death. A radio dramatization of The Diary of Captain Scott. Our star, Mr. Herbert Marshall.
Hey, Wilcox, you're under arrest. What for, Sheriff?
For making a fast getaway, that's what for.
Oh, not I, Sheriff. It's those ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs in my car. They're experts on fast getaways, and they can't be beat for smoother performance and gas savings either.
Well, then I want them Autolite spark plugs for my car.
You bet you do, Sheriff. Everybody wants those world-famous ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. So why not have your neighborhood Autolite spark plug dealer check the exact condition of your spark plugs with his exclusive Autolite plug check indicator? And if they're worn out or wrong for your style of driving, he'll recommend those gas-saving, super-smooth, ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs.
How do I find my nearest Autolite spark plug dealer, Wilcox?
Why, just phone Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25. She'll gladly tell you the location of your nearest Autolite spark plug dealer. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, with The Diary of Captain Scott and the performance of Mr. Herbert Marshall, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
Wednesday, January 18th, 1912. Camp 69, temperature minus 22 degrees A.M. The South Pole. We have arrived, yes, but under very different circumstances from those expected. We've had a horrible day. Elation ran high all morning since we were nearing our goal and thought to be the first 5 men to reach the pole. But our hopes were dashed when Evans sighted a flag on a tent near the spot. The Norwegians have forestalled us and are first to get here. In the empty tent, under the name of their leader, Raoul Amundsen, were listed the 5 men who were with him. It's a terrible disappointment, and I'm very sorry for my loyal companions.
There's no doubt of it now. They did find an easier way up over the barrier.
Oh, we thought as much back at Cape Armitage. It's a rotten shame, men, and I'm sorry.
Good Lord, Captain Scott, you've done everything you could.
And there's more to do. More for all of us. 800 miles, as a matter of fact. Are you ready to start back, Evans?
I can't think of a reason to stay in this ruddy, miserable place.
Is the sledge ready, Oates?
A bit frozen in, I suppose.
Yes, I imagine. Wilson, do you vote to start?
The faster the better, Captain.
Bowers, can you get a sight and start us off on course?
Sky is a bit overcast, but I think so. Yes, I think I can.
We'll go then, as quickly as we can. The minute saved here will mean a minute more of comfort aboard the ship. January 18th, temperature minus 26 p.m. The moment of departure is here. It is impossible to collect our thoughts since few of them are voiced. But I know the same are with all of us. Can we pull the heavy sledge a great distance? 800 miles over trackless, windswept barrier and drift. Can we find the carefully arranged supply camps we left on our trail? Can we trust our navigation instruments? Can we survive? January 21st, temperature minus 31.4. This morning, while freeing the sledge from the ice, Evans snatched his hand. I'm afraid the poor chap is in for trouble. His wounds were not closed in this cold. And we absolutely cannot spare the time to camp as our rations are very low, as well as our fuel. January 28th, night camp. temperature minus 27. The miles continue to fall behind us, but with painful slowness. Our diet, and with it our general condition, has improved since finding our half-degree supply camp. Only 42 miles to the next one, but we're not without ailments. Oates is suffering from a very cold foot. Evans' hands and face are in a horrible state. And tonight Wilson is suffering tortures from snow blindness. Bowers and I are the only ones without trouble at present.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I've got to rest.
Don't try to help, Evans. Just hold to the sled.
I wasn't helping, Captain. I've got to rest anyway. I get dizzy.
Don't sit down, Evans. Step on your feet.
Can't we put him in his sleeping bag and put him on the sledge? No, I won't do that. We can pull him. I won't do it.
Well, it's for the good of the rest of us, Evans.
No, I'll stay here first.
Then, it's an order.
No, not that kind of an order. I won't be dragged on by the rest of you.
Then you've got to come along.
7 or 8 more miles, Evans. Then we'll be stopping for some rest and a hot meal. I'm not thinking of those miles. How many more 7 miles are there?
Let's cover these with
How many more?
Evans.
I'll do the best I can.
I'm sure of it, Evans. And everything will be all right?
Yes.
All right. There'll be hot food in a few more hours. Let's move on. February 11th, temperature minus 26.2. The worst day we've had during the trip, and greatly owing to our own fault. We started on a wretched surface, pulling on sledge. The light was horrible. Dull by fog, it made everything look fantastic. As we went on, the light grew worse, and we found ourselves in pressure. Then came the fateful decision to steer east. The disturbance grew worse, and my spirits received a very rude shock. The farther we plunged ahead, the less possible it seemed that we could find a way out. We struggled until 9 p.m. to do nothing more but make camp. There's no getting away from the fact that we are not pulling strong.
Amesbury pony sledge. John Wright pony sledge. Sherborne.
Your eyes, Wilson. How are they?
Better, I think.
Let me see. Yes, I think they are. Oh, Evans.
George. Oh, yeah?
What were you saying?
Was I saying something? I didn't think I was. I thought I was asleep.
Perhaps you were.
Know what you were saying, Evans? You were naming the schools that donated sledges for the expedition.
Oh. Thought I was asleep. Must have been dreaming about home. I like it better there than I do here. I mean, I like dreaming about it. I like it.
Get as much rest as you can, Evans. We'll want an early start. Oates, how's your foot?
All right, it's better, Captain. It bothers a bit in the morning, but then it gets better.
Good.
How do you get along so well, Captain?
Oh, because I know everything is going to be all right.
Are you just cheering us up, or do you really think so?
Of course I think so. You know as well as I what splendid planning we've had. Everything is going precisely as it should. There's a line of supply camps right back to the ship. All we've got to do is follow it. February 17th, a very terrible day, although we got out of the turmoil. Evans looked a little better after a good sleep and declared he was all right. He started in his place on the traces, but half an hour later, he had to leave the sledge and follow behind. At the first rest stop, he came up very slowly. He stayed with us for a while, then dropped out again. We tried to pull him on the sledge, but had not the strength, and he fell behind. At lunch camp, we saw him coming far astern, and when we looked again, he had fallen.
Evans, is he alive?
Wait. There. Get him to his feet. Get him moving. Come on, Evans. Evans.
Oh, no. Let me go.
Walk, man.
Oh, Evans. I don't want to go.
Don't get the others, Bowers. Bring the sledge. Right. Evans, listen to me. You can't lie here. You've got to move. Evans, come on, get up. You have to do it. They can't lift you.
Over there. Over there by the tree. Go fetch Over there.
When we got him into the tent, he was quite comatose. And he died quietly at 12:30 p.m. It's a terrible thing to lose a companion that way. His passing is a frightfully personal thing to each of us. As is usual, our doubts and fears are not voiced. But I don't think that one of us does not wonder how many of the remaining 4 can survive.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Herbert Marshall in The Diary of Captain Scott. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Hey, Wilcox, are them Autolite spark plugs really as slick as I hear tell?
You bet they are, Sheriff. You see, Autolite spark plugs are designed by the same Autolite engineers who designed the coil, distributor, starting motor, generator, and all the other important parts of the complete ignition systems used as original equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars, trucks, and tractors.
Well, what about that Autolite resistor spark plug?
Why, Sheriff, that Autolite resistor spark plug gives double life, greater gas savings, and smoother performance as compared to spark plugs without a built-in resistor. And what's more, it reduces spark plug interference with radio and television reception. The Autolite resistor spark plug is just one of a complete line of ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs designed and built for every use. So, friends, take a tip from me and have your nearest Autolite spark plug dealer check your spark plugs soon. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Herbert Marshall in Elliot Lewis's production of The Diary of Captain Scott. A true story, well calculated to keep you in suspense.
February 22nd, night camp. Temperature minus 22.9. There's little doubt we are in for a rotten, critical time going home, and the lateness of the seas may make it rather serious. We never won a march of 8.5 miles with greater difficulty than we did today. We've come now a bit more than half the distance, which leaves almost 400 distressing miles of dragging still before us. On the bright side, we found another supply camp and 10 full days of provisions and have less than 70 miles to the next camp. February 25th, night camp. Temperature minus 23.2. A little despondent again. The really terrible stuff. Oates' foot is almost completely gone. He is helpless. It leaves the pulling up to Wilson almost totally blind now. Bowers and me. And we do not do well at all. The truth is there is not enough energy in our ration. Without tremendous intakes of energy in this cold, we suffer physically, mentally too. There is little communication between us in the tent at night now. Yes?
What is it, Scott?
Well, I thought I heard something. I thought you said something, didn't you?
No.
Bowers. I've got to talk to you, Bowers.
Oh, of course.
Bowers, I'm terribly worried. I didn't think it was you who was called. I heard my wife.
Under these conditions, I
Wait,
hardly
let me
think...
tell you. It started last night. I was with her, Bowers, and there wasn't a dream. I was lying awake, looking up at the peak of the tent. And suddenly I was with her. In our library at home.
You must have been dreaming.
No, I wasn't. I could feel everything and smell everything. The perfume she was wearing, the warmth from the fire. I was warm, Bowers. I was warm even after I came back here. No dream can accomplish that. I went home. I held her in my arms. And we went up to see our son. It was night, and he was asleep. And then we went back to the library and sat before the fire. And it was warm.
I'm sorry that he's asleep, Bob, but it is late.
I know. From every time. And oh, what tales I'll have to tell him. Of courageous men serving their country. I'll make him proud to be an Englishman.
Oh, I'm sure he will be, darling.
Above all, we must guard him against indolence. We must make him a strenuous man. Interest him in natural history. Better than games.
He'll be a good man.
And you, Kate, if I could tell you the millions of thoughts I've had of you.
I was with you, I think. I worried so. I knew you must have been suffering.
There was but some. There's bound to be when a feat is as great as ours. The years of planning. 800 miles we marched to the pole. 800 back. But what wealth we brought to the scientists. And what honor we brought to England.
You're home, darling. And that's more important than science and honor. You're home and you won't ever go away again.
No. I've served my duty, I think. I shall collect and arrange my notes. Perhaps I shall write a book and describe the bottom of the world and living there.
But never go back.
The drift snow, like finest flour, flippering up under one's clothing and stinging the sandblast.
But never go back.
The great cloudy columns of snowdrift advancing from the south and heralding the storm.
But never go back.
No, I like it here. I'm warm. Warm. I'm warm.
It was a dream, Scott.
I'll probably
Lord,
put
it's
some
nothing
leaves
to
and
worry
stuff.
about.
It was
But
not a dream.
so
All
far,
of your senses don't coordinate
so
in a dream.
good.
You don't smell and touch and feel. Well, I told you. If it's the first sign of a breakdown, I wanted you to know.
They're saving.
Of course it isn't.
And
You're
now,
in splendid shape. Thanks, Bowers.
food
I owe you a
is-
great deal. Nonsense. At least I owe you the privilege of getting some sleep. Good night, Bowers. Good night.
Cat Von. Know what? Cat Von, you getting it. Cat is getting it. Cat Von's getting the viewers. She better watch herself.
March 1st. Lunch. Very cold last night. Minimum minus 41.5. But our fortunes have changed. At least the future looks brighter. Bauer's excellent navigating has kept us precisely on course, and on it we found an unexpected supply tent containing rations and a note addressed to me. The men back at the Cape had taken it upon themselves to change plans, for which we are happy. The next camp, we expected only supplies, has been enlarged and manned. We are to be met there with dog sledges. At that point, our dragging days are finished.
All right, everybody.
And only 24.5 miles away.
You incredible people. You awesome people. Just know that I love you. You stay out of trouble now. You stay sweet. You stay incredible. And I'll see you guys next time.
This day we have suffered three distinct blows. First, through some oversight, our fuel oil supply is less than half what we thought it was. Second, Titus Oates is still at the feet. They show very bad indeed. They will never be saved. Lastly, the weather has turned on us.